Greetings, fellow captains, and welcome back to another episode of World of Warships Legends with the Hivehound. And today we're gonna split up into we're gonna release three videos: one for the cruisers, one for the destroyers, and one for the battleships in preparation for tier 6 ranked. Where we're gonna have a quick overview of the ships, look at their strengths and weaknesses, and basically have a quick discussion about what ships I feel are going to be really strong and what ships you should probably try and dodge and avoid taking into ranked to increase your chances of winning, because nobody likes losing. And also it's a good idea to understand, I know a lot of people focus just on their specific ships, so it's also good to understand and have a bit of a grasp about the strengths and weaknesses of your opponents, because that will obviously give you an edge. So we're going to start off with the tier 6 Benson. This is going to be the destroyer video and the first one to go up, and we're going to have a look. So obviously American destroyers don't have the best concealment, 5.7 kilometers, but obviously you've got the advantage of having twist and track on the American commanders, which can be a bit of an advantage for you. I have to apologise, this video might be a bit broken up because I recorded the footage whilst thinking I was recording my voice when I wasn't, so I'm now talking over it sort of post-recording, which is kind of difficult. So we do have 9.2 kilometer torpedoes on the Benson at 59 knots, so you've got a good range, although the speed is quite slow compared to some of the others. A decent amount of hit points, 13,550, but the main advantage of the Benson, ignore my scrolling, is its guns. It's one of the best gun boats there. The Akatsuki, I'm going to advise people don't play the Akatsuki because it's very much a one-trick pony. Alright, okay, your detectability range by sea is only 4.8 kilometers. It is the sneakiest out there, but with ships like the Benson, and I know you can on the Germans, you can have the twist and track-esque perk, whatever it's called, you're gonna lose out on every single gunfight if you ever get spotted, because the guns are pitiful. They're absolutely atrocious on the Akatsuki. The only good thing about the Akatsuki, and its torps are phenomenal. They've got good speed, excellent damage, and of course the Akatsuki can fire 9, which is a massive advantage for the ship. But like I said, it is very much that one-trick pony. Unless you've got your team backing you up or a good cruiser in your division, it's probably not worth talking about. The Asashio, essentially it's the Kagero, so it's got slightly better guns than the Akatsuki, but only marginally. It has the torpedo reload booster, but that's about it. The Jervis, this is going to be a really strong contender for ranked. So 5.1 kilometer detectability range, which is, it's good. It's better than the Americans, that's for sure. It has pretty good torpedoes when we get to the torpedo section. I think I've got 8.7 kilometer at 65 knots, so they're quick and they've got good range, but the artillery is much better than that of the Japanese, and it can hold its own in a gunfight. You've also got that multiple short range, short duration smoke that allows you to fire, get quite a lot of fire damage and shots off before disappearing and getting out of there. And of course you've got the advantage of these single fire torpedoes, and you can actually fire 10 torpedoes in a full salvo from the Jervis. So that is definitely an advantage, although it doesn't have the hit points of the Americans with 2,250 less. But of course you have got that hydroacoustic search, which is a massive advantage again. So on to the Maas. The Maas has quite a lot of hit points. Its concealment is comparable to that of the British. Its torpedoes 8 kilometers at 69 knots. So although it suffers a little in range, it does have an increased speed, making them the fantastic all-round, like jack of all trades boats. So with the artillery and the extra hit points, and obviously the Maas also has hydroacoustic search, so that is going to make both the Jervis and the Maas really powerful in the up and coming ranked battles. Not only can you defend yourself against other destroyers, but you can also protect your teammates with the hydro as well. Obviously the Jervis does have that extra consumable due to the commander perks as well. So obviously don't take my word for it as gospel. I am not a big DD player. I'm just looking at the stats and how they play and trying to make the best decisions we can. So the Minsk, don't play this ship in ranked. Not at all. I love the Russian destroyers because of how much fun they are. But a 6.1 detectability range, that's with a good commander build. You're going to be outspotted by everything. Everything is going to be able to fire a salvo at you before you can fire a salvo at them, and that is going to hurt you for sure. They don't have a high amount of hit points either, but the guns are phenomenal. They really are. You can punish cruisers even with the armor piercing, and you've got those, oh crap, 74 knot torpedoes on the ship as well, but they are only 4 kilometers, and well, okay, good for ambushes, but I don't think you're going to get that much chance to ambush whilst in ranked battles. So I've flicked back onto the Maas for some reason. Right, okay, so we're going to have a look at the premium ships. I do the the tech tree ships first because not everyone has access to the premiums. Excuse me, I seem to be having a senior moment. So the Terrible, 5.5 kilometer detectability range, which isn't bad. It's not particularly great either. There's a few strong arguments against using the Terrible. So you've got 8 kilometer torps at 68 knots. So the torps are pretty good. You can fire up to 9, 2 from one side, 1 from the other. Its only advantage is its speed. It doesn't have hydro. It doesn't have a smoke screen, so its role is quite limited as a sort of terrorizing, pop in, pop out kind of ship. But in ranked, when you want to be defending caps, it's gonna be a difficult one to justify, as much as it is a good ship for regular standard battles. Yeah, I just think for ranked, it's probably not going to be the best. Obviously, I could be completely wrong, and please feel free to chime in and tell me, Hive, you're wrong, in the comments below. So on to the Polish tier 6, the Błyskawica, or Lightning in Polish. A very good ship in all fairness. Let's have a look at the detectability, 5.7, so it's, you know, it's up there with the higher end of the destroyers, with its 5.7 kilometer detectability range. It has got pretty decent torpedoes, 8 kilometers at 59 knots, so again comparable, but this thing's real crowning jewel is its guns. Its guns are really good, but with an 18-second turn time. Also, its downfall, if you're expecting the enemy and you plan your shots ahead, you've got your guns firing in the right direction, then great, the Błyskawica will destroy almost everything else at tier 6. But if it's not, you're gonna suffer. Although it does have smoke screen and a speed boost. The Asashio, we've briefly mentioned that earlier. It's basically a Kagero, so it's got the 2 launchers of 8 with the reload booster and smoke screen. But that's about it. It's very much the same. It's the one-trick pony that the Akatsuki is. And for some unknown reason, I seem to be having an epileptic fit here on the screen. I think this is where I was pointing out that the Jervis and the Maas are definitely going to be the 2 most powerful destroyers in tier 6 ranked. because of that hydroacoustic search. That hydroacoustic search is a real game changer, and the fact that both ships are really good jack of all trades. They've both got good torpedoes, they've both got good guns, so you can outplay enemies, and especially when they're sitting in smoke screens trying to hold caps, you can light them up with your hydro. Not only can you shoot at them with impunity, but so can your team as well. So I hope you found this quick insight into the tier 6 destroyers useful and helpful. I hope you make some good decisions out there. Obviously, if you disagree with me, slap it in the comments. I'm always willing to learn as much as I like to help people out as well. So this is part 1. You're going to see part 2 and part 3 being the cruisers and destroyers coming out shortly. I hope this finds you informative. Good luck in ramp battles, and until next time, take care.